Hi, my name is Aditya, and on the internet, I'm known as the Brewkenstein. I am a food technologist by day, an MC, stand up comedian, a content creator by night, and you're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
My name is Abhay and I share conversations with talented and interesting individuals linked to the global Indian and South Asian community. It's informal and informative, adding insights to our evolving cultural expressions, where each person can proudly say, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." Hi, everyone. On this episode of Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing, a conversation with comedian, creator, and consultant Aditya Kakodkar. Stay tuned. As always, thank you for listening to the show and for sharing and downloading and rating and kindly reviewing. It's very much appreciated, and I'm really quite grateful. I realize that a healthy part of cultural preservation and an even higher intellectual form of cultural evolution comes from truly not taking yourself and that which you consume very seriously. There's actually a lot of community that's built around observing and selecting nuances in the world around you, especially those that tend to make you giggle, or the ongoing nostalgia of present and past people or situations that you can actually share with others because of a common culture. So growing up in the US in a very Marathi household, where the often hilarious observational humor and style of Pula Deshpande was front and center, it was nice to catch up with Aditya Kakodkar, who's one of many that are propping up language and cultural connection in a unique way through humor and sketch comedy. Aditya is a food technology consultant by day and has been an MC and trivia event host by night for many years. But lately he's been recognized for his online presence, where he's known as Marathi Kaka or Brewkenstein, as like me, he likes beer. More than anything else, his very catchy humor on everything from learning Marathi with all of its quirks and translations, to perfect Puneri takes on life, to the painful yet necessary sarcasm of Maharashtrians both in India and abroad, have all taken on a life of their own and are living rent-free in our heads, as the kids say. I was able to catch up with Aditya to chat about it all, from Marathi Kaka musings, to bad dad jokes, to the surprises he gets when meeting people who appreciate his work. But we started out with the obvious question that challenges all global Marathi speakers every day. Do you say fantastic or do you say Phantaastic?
I haven't gotten to the fantastic part yet. I am still in fantastic, but maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I do like the alphabet thing.
Yeah.
The pronunciation of different English words by Marathi people.
Yeah.
And fur and pur is going to be in the next few years. I've already written the script.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a lot of fur becomes pur.
Oh, no.
And there's a difference between pur and fur. So the difference between that.
I can't wait. Well, now and then so those are a lot of English words. Well, what about something as simple as, is it varan bhat or is it varan bhat?
It is varana bhat.
Good. I think we can carry on then. That's good. So it's not vada pav. Yeah, it's right. So manje is it vada pav or is it vada pav?
It's vada pav.
Excellent. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've seen that you do, there's some real great, I think, tickling moments, right? Like, because we certainly in the West have a completely different vantage point about this, right? Yeah. But on the other hand, like I promise, at least in my stylings here, I'm not going to do any, as you put it, tiu me itka ka nahi karnar.
Hey, you've been following a few videos in the past.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I do have one. I have one Marathi joke for you. Okay, so How do you translate this into Marathi? Okay, this is the English, and tell me, do you know how to translate this into Marathi? So the English phrase is, "I died in dramatic fashion."
I died in dramatic fashion. Wow, dramatic. The word dramatic.
And so the answer is melodramatically.
Ah.
I think that I'm going to leave it at that. That's it for me. So,
I mean, thus proving your worth as a dad joke
Yes,
connoisseur.
that is true. That is proving my worth as a dad joke. We can sit here and talk for hours probably about this kind of thing. But do you ever get to the point where you have way too many things to possibly make a sketch on or write about? Or actually, do you come to points where you have creative blocks? Almost like a real, kind of writer's block, or I mean, I hate to put it this way, but it's kind of a creative constipation.
I do. In fact, about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I was going through one. Usually what I do is the an idea can strike you at any time. I mean, whether I'm traveling or I'm driving or listening to a podcast or something like that, and something, oh yeah, I can make something out of this. And what I do is, if an idea strikes me, I either write it down as a note on my phone, and once I come home, I write it down on my whiteboard. So I've got a content idea whiteboard and everything. I'd like some 10 odd ideas on the board. And even though I had ideas, I was like, I don't know what to do with these ideas. Like, there was a legit writer's block. I mean, there was, like, I could stare at those ideas, and those guys are questioning me, do you really think this is a good content piece? Do you think this is worthy of putting it out there? In the moment you were traveling, where you were in that scenario, maybe it was funny, but once you've put it up on the board, it doesn't seem that funny. Then you start questioning that slippery slope of, am I even funny? Should I be even doing this and everything?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it does get to a very weird place at times. At times there are content pieces that are put up just because, you know what? Let me see what is the worst that can happen.
Right. It's an experiment.
Yeah, a few people might unfollow. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But it's experiment out there. Ki, let me see if I do something away from the norm. What happens? What doesn't? At times there are content pieces I myself don't believe in, where I don't know if this is good
Hey, Kai
enough,
Paltu.
maybe,
Yeah.
but I'll put it up, and then boom, 100K views.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, okay, how did that happen?
Yeah.
The thing is, what I realized is I can get a content writer's block, but there are a lot more ideas out there.
Yeah.
So what I've started doing, it what I used to do also, is I've started putting them in content buckets of sort, like
Mm.
what goes on Instagram, what goes in my live shows,
Right.
what goes on in sketches and
Yeah.
everything. So if it's a throwaway joke, I can put it either in a sketch, or I can put it up in a stand-up show or something like that.
Because you say that, like, look, you could be listening to something, you could be observing something, you could be traveling, you could be doing nothing. An idea sort of strikes you. Is it likely important? And in fact, it's almost necessary to have to be a very good listener, to have to be a very good observer in order to succeed in this particular craft.
Considering my humor is observational humor, yes.
Right.
So that's not like something you also have to do. That's a
It's a
necessity.
necessity. Well, and by the way, do you have to practice that? Is that something that you have to, like, be keen on, or is it something that naturally has come to you?
I've been married for 4 years, so it became naturally.
All right.
I mean, the one task that we husbands do really well is listening. Whether
Yes.
we act on it or not is a different topic altogether.
Yeah, boy, that's another podcast. Yeah.
But it took me time. It took me time. I mean, at times when you have an idea in your head, the entire thing is to, I want to put this out there. I want, this is how it should look and everything. Like, no, calm down. See what it can be. Listen to what it can evolve into. There are multiple things that you can get inspired by. I mean, most, like I told you, being married and being a good listener in your marriage, lot of content right there.
Oh yeah, that's gold right there, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm imagining your wife is probably a sounding board for this, and probably is able to have some, kind of vetting process.
So the thing is, I do include her in few of the content pieces that she does, and she truly is not a sketch actor or something like that. So her philosophy is, if I can't do it in one take, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
I have to write it perfectly. So if I have to write it perfectly to a point where, I mean, that helps me practice. Now, that's the one thing about marriage, where they can tell you the reality, like, oh, this is crap. I mean,
Right.
this is truly
No,
crap.
there's no
And then
filter.
you get,
Yeah.
there's no filter,
Yeah.
and there's no gray area. It's either
Yeah.
black or white.
Right.
It becomes easier that way because you have a critic in the house itself. So you can shape it up better.
I was going to say that I imagine also that, like, it's when you're doing observational comedy, it's probably very healthy, especially in the content creation space, that you do have to tap into trends, right? I think I saw recently a video piece that you made where I think is a guy named Ori,
Yeah.
who's saying different things, and then you capitalize, said, hey, look, these are all the different Marathi names. I mean, so in that
Yeah.
way, is timing also important in a way?
A lot. I mean, so I'll give you this thing. Sometimes luck plays a part. For example, I did have the sketch ready, but I didn't think it was ready.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know I mean, how do I put it across better? And then this wonderful concept of Mr. Ori comes into the picture, and
Right.
who's like trending right
Yeah.
now, and he's all over the place.
Yeah.
All over everyone also in the photos.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, nothing like it. Let's just jump on this
Yeah.
and see.
Yeah.
And then it worked successfully. That's
Right.
It's just went from there. And I was like, okay.
Is that I mean, I imagine that, like, okay, look, there's a trend to jump on or one to hold off on. Like, that kind of instinct probably at some point is one that you develop over time. But then at the same time here, how do you know if you and when your work stays relevant? At some point there, you work in the food technology industry, so data is always, important. But, at some point, how do you know that your work is both relevant, and then how does it stay relevant?
From what I have realized in this, I don't do the intense data analytics that a lot of people do to understand whether what content piece is working and what it's not, when is it not. I'll tell you quite honestly. I mean, I'm going to anger a lot of my own marketing people and marketing peers,
Right.
but 80% of it is still gut feeling. Like, in the end, your intuition, your gut tells you, hmm, let's hold off on this. No, let's go ahead with this. And even if you go ahead with a content piece, suppose,
Yeah.
and it does not work, but I mean, what are the metrics of not working? Okay, it's not got 1,000 views or whatever. I mean, XYZ views, that in itself, I take it as a learning on saying, hey, let's see where all it did not work. What was bad in it? Was the hook bad? Was the reasoning bad? If there are less shares, was the relatability bad? Was it something that people do not look for? So that gives me a learning. So I still rely on the gut feeling. I know a lot of
Data
data analytics
enthusiasts.
people,
Yeah.
and I am a data enthusiast. I'm a marketing guy myself, and I am like, at sometimes when you just know, especially when it comes to my own content.
Well, that's where the instinct comes
Yeah.
in, right?
Yeah, that's where my instinct comes in, saying, you could hold on to this, or you know what, just because you want to put across a content for this week or something, just put it across. Let's see how it performs. It performs brilliant. If it doesn't perform, that's fine. I mean, again, I am not selling a product right now. I mean, it's just content creation for me. I'm not, it becomes a brand, but I'm not actively invested in it. I've not put in the money. For me, making content is not about putting in money, and I don't have like a high production value. For me, it's, I mean, it's very simple. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's okay, man. Just move on.
You're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. After a quick break, we'll come back to our conversation with Aditya Kakodkar. Stay tuned. Conversation. It's the antidote to apathy and the catalyst for relationships. I'm Abhay Dandekar, and I share conversations with global Indians and South Asians so everyone can say, trust me, I know what I'm doing. New episodes weekly, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hi, this is Vidya Balan, and you're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
Hi, this is Farhan Akhtar.
Hi guys, I'm Ananya Pandey.
Hi, this is Madhuri Dixit, and you're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing with Abhay Dandekar.
Welcome back to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. Let's rejoin our conversation now with Aditya Kakodkar. And so, when you take that same kind of feeling, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it works. ठीक है, चालतं. Obviously, you can't necessarily take that kind of ethos back to your day job. So, my question, yeah, right. So my question is that, like, if you think about it, do you have crossover? I mean, does the work that you do as a content creator bleed into your work as a consultant or in food technology, and vice versa for that matter? Or are you kind of, really, really disciplined about keeping those lanes very separate?
There's a very smooth transition of sorts. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
As a consultant, I not only help develop products and systems. For some brands, I help develop their marketing strategies also.
Yeah.
So I work along with a marketing agency where we help develop marketing strategies, and I usually handle the food and the bevs and everything.
Right.
And then comes my own content creation. So it's like a spectrum of sort.
Yeah.
It's like a light spectrum where the product development is at one place, slowly transitioning into marketing for
Right.
different brands, and then is my content creation.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say there are walls, there are borders of sort, but I know where the transition. I can't skip from food technology to
Yeah.
content creation.
Right.
That jump now.
Yeah.
But there's that transition that happens, and luckily so far I've been able to keep
Yep.
it at that. I mean, if I need to tap into my technical resources when I'm pitching something for a brand advertisement or something like that, I can do that in my food technology bit.
Yeah.
If I want to tap into my creativity, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I can, like I say, I keep it in buckets.
Right.
Whenever whatever is needed, you extract that from that particular bucket. So luckily, I've been able to do that.
Yeah. It's a smooth professional Indra Dhanusha, if you will.
Yeah, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's basically it's exactly like that. Yeah.
Let me ask you a kind of more content related question then. So what's more complicated, Pune math or being a Marathi Kaka at a Marathi wedding?
Marathi Kaka at a Marathi wedding. So that content, actually, that Marathi Kaka at a Marathi wedding was a content piece I had done way back in 2020 when I first started making content. And at that time, I barely had like 1,500 followers. So I really believed in that content, and I was like, you know what, more people need to see that. So I basically evolved it. Like, I just added a few things and everything. And I was like, you know what, here, this is what the new piece is. And Pune math was again a part of a trend. On the internet, it's like the girl math, boy math, and everything. And Pune math is, I would say, a generic observation about the city of Pune. Wedding Kaka is a very specific observation.
And I like for Pune math how you, in the same piece, were able to blend both traffic and dating at the same time. So, so that's a must.
I mean, it's kind of become the same thing right now. Pune, everything is congested. So.
That's true. Yeah. Good one. Let me ask you this. I mean, some of these things are personas, right? So they're characters that are just kind of part of your personality. It doesn't take a whole lot of work for you to really share or portray them. And so, are there some of these things, whether it's Marathi Kaka or some character that makes it into your stand-up routine? Do you find that these are just elements of your personality that have always been there, but now they're just coming out in the form of a sketch?
I think I'll take this exact question back to your first question about observation. These are not personalities inside me, these are personas inside me. So these are recorded observations of people that have kept in some part of my brain inside. And when I see that observational pattern, I was like, okay, this person goes into this part of the brain, belongs to this category. It's like the MCU inside my head.
Yeah.
Like this is a particular, this is a particular Tony Stark type
Right.
character. This is
Right.
a particular Captain America type character.
Yeah.
I hope Marvel doesn't sue you for using this.
I hope not.
now.
Yes. Let's put it this way. This is Kaka who's in on the train, or
Yes,
this is
a typical. I'll make it better. A Kaka from Pune, a Kaka from Bombay, a Kaka from
Perfect.
Kolhapur,
Right.
a Kaka from Nagpur.
Not that I don't like the
These are-
Marvel characters, but this is even better. Yeah.
But Disney is too rich. So
That's right, yeah.
we can't risk it.
That's right.
But we just have to, we just categorize this in my head. And according to whenever I want to put across a content piece, I just tap into that and deliver it that way. Not just Kaka, I mean, these are your friends also who behaved like these, especially in Pune. I mean, even a kid of like 6 years old will say, "Arey, he Zuna Pune rahila nahi," and all. I mean, it's one of those. So it's that typical behavioral trait that you categorize and put it into your head, and whenever that is to be displayed, it just comes out from there. So these are the characters that I've developed and kept in, and whenever they want to come out, they do. Simple as.
Do you find that some of these are better suited for making a sketch and perfecting it and crafting it versus something that just comes naturally impromptu when you are in a stand-up routine or on stage or trying to, in fact, even just sharing conversation with friends? Are there some situations that you're like, nope, this is the kind of character or persona that I really, really need to share in the studio versus in a live format? Or do you try and practice both?
Yes, all of this is exactly how you said it. Like, I have so I do two kinds of live shows. One is a proper stand-up show, and one is I do trivia nights with the crowd. So where there's a lot of scope for improv comedy and general crowd engagement, crowd. And nowadays in India, crowd roasting is a thing. So roasting a particular person, it's fun. It's all done in jest. So I have to have those multiple personalities there. And for example, for a reel, there's a typical character that I play. For stand up, there's a different avenue that I choose because I've not yet introduced the character of Kaka on stage. Maybe in the future I might, but right now I'm very, very, very new in stand up. So I'm just trying to explore what my persona is because stand up comedy is very, very difficult in the sense that you have to have your stage persona intact. I mean, to a point where some people take their stage persona, make it their own persona, so that nobody catches them off guard ever. So that kind of thing. I mean, there's a huge commitment to it. When it's live, it's a different thing. When I'm with my friends, it's a different thing. So all these segments of humor are completely different when I mean depending on the company. When I'm with my wife, I can't do particular jokes because then I'll be sleeping on the couch.
Right.
So
right. You have to...
that's with company, everything shifts and changes accordingly.
Many people assume, perhaps, and maybe unfairly, that people who are content creators, people who are comfortable as moderators or hosts, or people who are doing stand-up comedy or do a live show, that they naturally are extroverts. Would you say that's somewhat true for you, or in fact, are you someone who craves privacy and craves, when you're not creating something, are you someone who is a little bit more insular and quiet?
I would say it's the opposite for me. I mean, in the sense I'm not an introvert at all. I think I got into content creation and more stage shows and all because I'm extrovert. Because again, go back to your first question. It's observation, listening, hearing, and if you're not truly an extrovert person, I mean, there's a misconception about extrovert people that they are the only ones who talk all the time and everything. No, I mean, extrovert is a person who is in a social setting taking record of whatever is happening. They're in the buzz, they're in the party kind of a thing. That does not mean they're ignoring people, they're just putting across their point or something like that. So for me, I'm that kind of an extrovert where even though I am in a party, I might be partying my guts out, and but I'm still listening, and I'm kind of the class clown also. I mean, I am clowning around all the time. In school, it was the exact opposite. I was not particularly the class clown. I was the one who got bullied, but hey, bullying let me become a better comedian, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
That's the thing. But yeah, I've always been an extrovert. In fact, I find it very like I get scared when I'm sitting alone. That kind of thing. Where
Yeah.
because then again, what I do is I start going into the thing ki chalo abhi likhne hai. So
Yeah.
I cannot sit still for a second. I mean,
Yeah.
if you see me sitting still or lying down, I'm like doing something, writing something,
Right.
or
Your
something is
thoughts
working in my head.
yeah,
that
your
kind of-
thoughts are working. You're constantly,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
thinking about, you know, the next sketch perhaps, or something
Exactly.
that actually is about to do. But then when you think about what you do, right, which is, you know, so cultural, it has such an importance in some way in preserving language. So I'm curious for you, do you have a sense in that way, not just a responsibility to your own sketches and to your comedy, but do you feel like there's a sense of responsibility to Marathi language, Marathi culture, Marathi life for that matter? And by the way, I don't necessarily mean a specific Marathi culture, a specific Marathi life, but for that matter, just the observations of Pune itself could be, you know, a proxy for some kind of Marathi culture and language.
So it's as simple as this. This language is my means of communication, and I find it to be a very fun thing to have around. I mean, I'm no language expert. I mean, I'm not even from a Marathi medium school. I'm from an English medium school. My Marathi in school was limited to that 100 marks paper and whatever interaction happened at home. So I never thought ki it was my responsibility towards the language or something. It's just that I love the language. I mean, I absolutely have been mesmerized by the words in it and the sentences in it and the entire culture around it. It's kind of like hey, this language gave us something. It's just my way of spreading amongst other people. Like most of the people in my comment section or the viewership are people who aren't Marathi, and they keep asking me, can you translate this for me and can you help me understand this better? So that is where that entire concept of we in Marathi we don't say vagare vagare vagare, that just started. And then it became from how Marathi people are, like in Marathi culture, vagara vagara. Like in Marathi, Marathi people are so XYZ, and this is how we speak and everything. So it came from a point where, hey man, people need to know the beauty of this language. I mean, considering Maharashtra is the state with the highest number of immigrants, and immigrants who are willing to be a part of the culture, they want to understand the language, they want to learn the language. And I'm just another guy who's helping them out in a very funny manner. I mean, there are people who come up to me and say out just the words zanzanit and khushkhushit and everything, just because I'd done a video long back. They're like, yeah, now we know what zanzanit means. So even having that impact on one person is a lot for me. I mean, yeah, I mean, okay, someone who did not know the word now is using that word or something like that, and that's in a way spreading the language kind of thing.
What's interesting about that is for someone like me who I don't get a chance to hear Marathi very often. I mean, when I'm with family, if I'm actually around or if I'm making it, it's an effort to have to do that, right? So when I hear something, in some ways, the responsibility is in some ways kind of like maximizing that secret, right? I mean, you can't completely have a way to translate some words. Like, how do you translate a word like jhakas, or how do you actually see, there's so many different facial expressions when it's like gapre, right? Like that.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
The things that you do in your work are really kind of like, in some ways, kind of harnessing all of those different things. Because for someone like me, they're a secret, and they sort of are my way and your way of connecting in that way. And that's when we were talking about earlier, this like, तुला हे सगळं विचित्र वाटत असेल, but in a way, that's exactly what connected you and I together.
Yeah. But that's the thing, you use the word secret. Funny enough, I don't think it's a secret, because how much ever content I put out there like this, there are going to be a few internal jokes in Marathi which, even if I put out there, people are not going to understand.
Right.
That's going to be very core Marathi. I mean, that's a typical Marathi behavior. Like I've written a sketch on this also. I haven't put it up yet, but it's like Satya Narayanachi Katha, and how everyone has an expert take on everything that is happening. And it's very much like that, Satya Narayanachi Katha might be something, a story that is giving you XYZ moral, but unless that Guruji tells you what that moral, everyone's interpretation of that is different, completely different. Some might say, that the story is about honesty. Some might say, no, the story is about, being philanthropic. The story is about, revenge, whatever. So that is the interpretation. So for me, it's exactly like that. Whenever I put out a content piece, like I had done that Satya Narayanachi Katha only, that the piece is out there, but everyone is interpreting it differently until the Guruji. So that was a sketch. So a concept like Satyanarayanachi Puja is very Marathi. Only Marathi people will understand that. Or it's kind of like an internal joke that we have. Because, I mean, in my opinion, Satyanarayanachi Katha, the Bhadji who does that, the raps better than Eminem does. I mean, he's the true rap god in that sense.
Right.
Because,
it's true.
Because he's just racing through it. It's not even a katha at that point. It's just a shariat. So it's hilarious. But those things are going to be very Marathi for us. Those things are still going to be an internal joke between us. So how much ever content and how much ever secrets we spill, people, a few things will always be core Marathi. Will be very, like, I wouldn't say a guarded secret, but it's going to be like an internal joke between us kind of a thing.
So I guess, like, is the person, the Marathi Kaka, like, let's say the guy who's at the wedding who's complaining that, like, hey guy, this is not traditional, Askal ashe kartat, whatever that might be, right? So at some point, a lot of these kind of, guarded secrets, if you will, Satyanarayan Katha, there may be a day when someone actually says, no, you know what, I'm only going to read half of it. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the question is that, is this your way of saying, hey, look, at some point you can decide and determine how you want to interpret it, but are there some things that are, hey, these are absolute boundaries, like you can't cross a line with this? Or is everything at some point going to evolve?
I truly believe everything evolves. I usually don't try to put boundaries on content, but I stay away from political content, considering the political nature of everything in the world right now. Not just in India, it's everywhere in the world. You put up anything remotely political, there's going to be factions. There are two factions fighting against each other for no reason, and I don't want to be the cause of it. I mean, you can fight on your own time. Like, Twitter was created just for that. Go enjoy there. That's why I try to keep it light. I mean, I stay away from political topics like those. But for me, I truly believe, like, I want to give Marathi Kakas the credit. I mean, they do realize that they're funny in their hypocrisy also. I mean, a Marathi Kaka will look at this and laugh, because his Kaka used to do the same, not realizing he's the Kaka.
That's right.
That's
it's a full circle.
It's a full circle. So for me, it's a win-win kind of a situation, because someone from an elder generation, from a boomer generation, will be like, amche Kaka asheच hote. Nahi Kaka, he tumhi ahat. This is how you are. But I do genuinely feel Marathi people do have that sense of humor. I mean, we come from a culture of Pula Deshpande, and I mean, that person is a genius of observational comedy, and he's pulled legs throughout his career. And we can laugh at ourselves. I genuinely believe Marathi people can laugh at ourselves, and that's why I think, I mean, the more evolution happens, I mean, it's going to be easier. I mean, the one of the top content creators in the country right now are Marathi, so that's kind of credit, because if you can laugh on yourself, you can be a good comedian.
Right.
That's what my take is.
You're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. After a quick break, we'll come back to our conversation with comedian, creator, and consultant Aditya Kakodkar. Stay tuned. Every story told is a lesson learned, and every lesson learned is a story waiting to be told. I'm Abhay Dandekar, and I share conversations with global Indians and South Asians so everyone can say, trust me, I know what I'm doing. New episodes weekly, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Hey, this is Cal Penn. I'm an actor, author, former public servant, and you're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
Hello everyone, my name is Tam France.
Hi, I am Rahul Mishra.
Hi, my name is Richa Morjani, and you're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing with Abhay Dandekar.
Hi there, I'm Abhay Dandekar, and you're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. Let's come back to our conversation now with Aditya Kakodkar. Let me finally ask you this. You mentioned Pula Deshpande, you mentioned, there are other great content creators out there. For you specifically, this is kind of a question that I wonder about a little bit, in that, how do you define success? Like, what does that actually look like when you're a doctor, when you're a consultant, et cetera? Your success is that your patients are healthy, your consultant, your project has been completed, et cetera. But in this space, in the artistic space, in the content creation space, how do you define success? That's one thing. And then the second thing is that when someone comes and either watches you live or is seeing your content, what so far, when people actually meet you, what do you think they're most surprised by?
The first question is kind of difficult, I'll be quite honest, because I never put a metric to success, quite honestly. I mean, I what is success in that sense? I mean, it becomes like a philosophical question in that sense, because content creation is a journey.
So like people would define Pula Deshpande as being successful, right? But
yes,
how do you measure that, right?
How do you measure how successful a person was? I mean,
right.
I'm not doing this for awards, or I'm not doing it for I don't know, Padvi or something like that. I mean, for me, it's just continue. I mean, what I feel, and it's gonna sound so tacky and philosophical right now, but success comes at the destination, and this is a journey which doesn't really have a destination of sorts. I mean, I make content because I like doing it, and it just happens.
That's okay.
And that's fine. I mean, I don't know what to say. I have 10 million followers now, I'm successful. Great. So do 100 other people. How are you standing apart? And is everyone successful in that sense? Do you mean everyone who's not had 1 million followers is less successful? No, they are successful in their own way. I mean, I feel the definition of success shouldn't be one. I mean, I think it's an individual success, and I don't know. I'm really struggling to give an answer to this.
And the truth is that I'm not sure if there is an answer for that one. And the truth is that, I wonder if, in fact, as you mentioned, like not having a definition to that itself is a success, right? I mean, that's the first hurdle to recognize and realize that there isn't a great definition.
Because there's no end point. For example, I'll give you this. When I started this content creation thing, I had not manifested but written in one of my sketches that by November 2023, 50k followers, something like that. And when I actually reached 50k followers, I was like, oh, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Okay, that's just a number.
Right.
I mean,
it's
nothing.
just, hey,
There was
that
no.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. So there was no dynamic shift, or there was no, suddenly 50,000 people waiting for me outside or something like that. No, it just happened. And then the same thing happened at 100K. I mean, it just happened. I mean, okay, good. But what next? What do I look for 500K when 500K will happen? Okay, 1 million will happen. Do I start feeling differently? Do I start making better content suddenly? No, it's the same thing that I'm going to do. So numbers are not it. Numbers are not success. That I have realized, internalized myself.
Yeah.
Like that I've realized, okay, this is not a metric on which I want to measure success. Now, what do I want to measure success? Then the question comes, why do I want to measure success at all? So let it be. I mean, you're enjoying doing what you're doing. Just enjoy. Why think about what the word should be attached to it?
I guess I'll also in a way, I'll ask you this, right? I mean, for some people, right, having some kind of definition to this, in fact, is a motivator, right? You go from point A to point B to point C. Having these milestones, in fact, give people different drives.
Yeah, it drives them.
It drives them, right? So,
yes,
I mean, does that ever make you feel like, look, you have to be a pretty self-motivated, self-assured, confident person to be able to live in this kind of world?
I'll be very honest. Again, I truly believe every person's perspective is unique on this. If I don't have a definition of success, and if you do, suppose, I mean, you're a doctor and you have like XYZ kind of a thing, and I'm not gonna crap on that. Saying, hey, you believe in success, such a moron. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I mean, your definition of success is legit to you. What I'd be against is you measuring my success based on your parameters.
Right, of course.
What you define as success might be different to what I define as success, or I might not define success at all. So I do not, I mean, for people who believe that these milestones work, I completely back them. I completely support them. That is your motivator. Awesome. You work on that motivation. For me, that's not a motivator. For me, putting sales target or marketing targets is not a motivation. For me, it's understanding what is required and understanding how it goes through. For me, I mean, that's why the entire thing of success stories and everything, but that's a personal take. I wouldn't to say it in Marathi, me हे कोणावर लादणार नाही. I wouldn't put it on someone else to follow my rules of what success means or something like that. In the end, it's Satyanarayanachi Katha. Everyone's got a perspective.
It all comes back to Satyanarayanachi Katha. So in the end, when people do meet you and they get a feel for who you are, what do you think they're most surprised by as they get to know you better or get to know your content better?
They truly, I mean, so a lot of people approach me and, hey, you're that person and all.
Right.
And I'm like, yes, I am. And now I've started doing this. Gimmick where I say, I'm not, but a lot of people come and ask me whether I'm that person. Who is this person? Can I see this person?
That's right, yeah.
And a lot of people get confused. He looks exactly like you. I'll show you.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So I've started doing this gimmick. That's the one thing I love doing when people come to me. I mean, I actually like to talk and engage with them a lot because, hey, I mean, if they are not the ones supporting your content, who really are you doing it for, kind of a thing. And a lot of people approach, take a selfie and everything. And I think the one thing that they find surprising is I talk a lot with them also, try to understand where they are from. And because primarily a lot of people come up to me and say, oh, you're that celebrity. I'm like, first of all, I hate the word celebrity. Don't say celebrity. Then they say, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm like, again, fan is not a word I like. Please do not say fan. You just say, I like the content you make and I follow it. It's amazing. I'm good. That's enough. But don't use the word fan. Fan as a word has a very negative connotation where someone is on a pedestal and you're down. And I absolutely hate that term. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't sit well with me when someone says they're a fan.
You want a level sort of like community.
Yes. Yeah. I would. I've always been into more of a community perspective and everything. So I would rather, share a drink with you, sit down with you, understand what you also do and everything. And a lot of people get surprised by the fact that hi, I'm interested in their life also, because they pretty much think that they're watching me 24/7 do things, and for them it is like, oh, but why is he interested in my life? I'm like, no, because you are human. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get surprised by the fact that I interact with them that much in real life also, where hey, I want to know what you do, what's up with you, and XYZ. So I think that they get surprised by that fact. And a lot of people very sheepishly ask, can we take a selfie? I'm like, I'm not a big persona where you have to take permission, man, and take a photo. So I think that's what surprises them.
I think getting to know your content and knowing that you're human and knowing that you love engaging with people in a community is hopefully something that people keep coming back to over and over again. Aditya, what an awesome treat to share a conversation with you. I hope we can do this again in the future. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much, Abhay.
Thanks, Aditya. Boilermakers next time. And please check out Aditya, also known as Brewkenstein, also known as Marathi Kaka, online. By the way, we're Marathi, so we don't just agree with you, mock you, celebrate you, say goodbye, or maybe even leave you hanging. We just say, bud, huh, bud. Till next time, I'm Abhay Dandekar.